I guess we'll dive right into it. Let's start with the right at the top. Yesterday, this news comes down. From what I understand, that's really the first most people, if not all people, had heard of it. What was your reaction when you found out yesterday?
Actually, I found out the day before. I'm on the Oregon Nurses Association executive team. I'm the vice chair, and so the union leadership was told the day before, so that we would be prepared when the news hit and people started coming to us with questions about it. Um, it's just kind of standard procedure when any big news comes about, but when I found out, it was a gut punch. I was not expecting it. We've talked, there have been rumors off and on of selling eventually or closing eventually, but we thought that was several years down the road, and now it's here. Um, yeah, and then the usual grief reactions of just, being incredibly angry and the whole thing. So
You guys are on the heels of why am I losing the word
contract
here?
negotiations.
Negotiations is the word. Yeah, just on
Yeah.
the heels of negotiations. Throughout the process of negotiating, was this idea floated to ONA in any shape or form?
No, no. We negotiated our contract with the knowledge that we had of University District continuing to be open and functional and covered by the contract.
And so when you do you feel that there were bad faith do you feel that there were bad faith negotiations taking part because you were unaware of this plan that had to have been there?
It feels that way, and it kind of looks that way. What has been explained to me and to others is that it was not that was not the intent. It was timing. It just happened that they found that this was a good time business wise to do this thing, and it was a coincidence that it happened right during our negotiations. Now, whether they should have said something about it while we were in negotiations, it's possible, but I think that they really didn't make the decision, or I was told that they didn't make the decision until a few days ago, basically, and then wanted to tell us as soon as they had decided it so that we could start our processes of dealing with it.
Were you at did you work yesterday? Were you at the hospital yesterday?
I didn't work. Well, I wasn't paid for yesterday. I did a lot of work. And I was there for some of the day.
What was that
Well,
like? What was it like being there?
it was hard. I was there first for a meeting with my department where our manager and the chief administrative officer told the department what was happening. And that was very hard because we're family. Some of us have worked there for decades. Um, and then I was also there in the afternoon for a town hall, which was open to all staff at University District, and that was both virtual and in person.
What sort
And
of concerns were raised? What kind of questions were you fielding during those meetings?
um, well, people initially go to how is it going to affect me, which is that's what we do. And so there are the questions about how is this going to be handled because some of the departments are going to merge basically, and then there will also be some layoffs in other departments, which is not quite as bad a thing as it sounds because those nurses would be offered severance packages and first crack at any open jobs that are in the hospital, and or not a severance package and another job, but they get either or. So it's not the worst thing. Um, but just trying to help guide people through how this is going to work and how what's going to happen with them. It was how I spent a lot of the day yesterday. Um, one of the things that concerns emergency department nurses is not simply what's going to happen to us, but what's going to happen to our patients. We have kind of a special population at University District, which is both mental health and unhoused people, and they are often there. We are Our department is specially equipped to handle. Well, we have 12 secure rooms that are safe rooms, and those are specially equipped to keep people safe that are having mental health crises. And Riverbend has nothing like that. They have two rooms that are open to the hallway. They're not secured. They are lockable, but they're not secured, and so it's just a very different setup, and we're very concerned about what's going to happen with these people.
You mentioned it there with the mental health patients. Those secure rooms seem like a crucial point and change here. But what other ways? What are the main concerns you have about the ways the community, the patients that you see, are going to be impacted by this change?
Just a second. I'll be gone. I'm going to Corvallis.
You're going to Corvallis?
Yes.
Okay. Soon?
Yes.
Well, okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I want you to drop me off at the store and then go to Corvallis.
Okay.
I'll walk over.
Okay. Sorry.
Good compromise. It's a good deal. It's a good deal. But anyway, what what ways are you? What are like the if you could give a maybe a one, two, three biggest reasons you're concerned about what's going to happen to patients and the community of Eugene?
Okay, well, so one is our special population. Because I mean, part of it is that we have grown to really care for these people. We see them often. They are, they're sort of extended family in some ways. Sometimes they're the people that you maybe don't want to see the family, but we like seeing them succeed, and we like helping them to get better. Number two is the wait time at Riverbend has always been long, and I can't speak to why that is. I mean, even when they were fully staffed, when they were, I mean, the whole time that they've been open, their wait times have been long, and I don't know if it's their processes or what. I can't speak to that. I just know that it is. We see anywhere from 90 to 110 patients a day on an average. And some of those will end up going to McKinsey, but some of those will go to Riverbend. And I don't know what's going to happen as far as the wait time at Riverbend and how that's going to affect people with acute problems that come in and need immediate attention. It's going to extend the time until people have care. And number three the morale is not going to be great at either place. University District, because we're being taken out of our home and sent across the river to a place that some of us have never worked, that some people have rarely even been there, and then put in jobs in like jobs, but they're not the same. And the Riverbend people are also very concerned because these people are coming from another hospital, and are they going to take my job? Am I going to have to work night shift when I worked so hard to get my child care and, my divorce decree or whatever aligned with my schedule? And now is that going to be upended? And they're all very valid concerns that some of them, yes, that will happen. Your schedule will be changed and your life will be rearranged for you. And that's going to be hard. So that's overall that ends up in very low morale.
Couple follow-ups to those points you made there. The first off, at a time, a lot of your guys' negotiations, from what I understand from Chris Rampala, is that we're surrounded around patient ratios. Your patient care ratios were too high, not
Yes.
enough one-on-one care, 2-to-1, 3-to-1, these lower level ratios. If nurses take those severance packages and leave and don't just take all the nurses from UD plop them into Riverbend. How concerned are you about those ratios that you just fought so hard for months, damn near a strike here over the summer, and you just got this contract deal? What level of concern do you have that those ratios are going to get even worse going forward?
Um, I'm not sure that that's going to happen. I think that the administration is viewing this as an influx of nurses. We're going to be taking. I don't know how many nurses we have at University District, but it's definitely over 100. Um, Taking those nurses and putting them into the Riverbend mix and just being able to increase our well, for one thing, our productivity, um, but be able to have the ratios that we need to have. I don't see that happening because there are some people who are taking positions elsewhere. Some people don't know what they're going to do yet. It has only been 24 hours, and we don't even know what all of the options are yet. Uh, so I'm not sure that it will change a whole lot on staffing, on the staffing ratios. Um,
But would you dispel any idea that this is going to improve ratios? Because if you look at the communities, Eugene, Springfield, and the outlying communities as a whole, you've had this many nurses, you've had this many patients. Those things aren't changing. If anything, you're going to lose a couple nurses here or there and make those ratios worse. Am I looking at that the right way?
yes, yes, that's absolutely right.
Another
And
follow up for you. You talked a little bit about transit times. Would you be able to give us a glimpse as to how a patient who's maybe being transported by EMS to a hospital, how that care changes from the ambulance to a hospital room? So how crucial are those? What are going to be an extra 10, 12, 15, 20 minutes if there's traffic? How important are those minutes for someone who's being transported from say South Eugene, downtown Eugene, that now has to go to Riverbend, maybe if they're having cardiac arrest or something like that? How crucial are those 10, 12, 20 minutes?
sometimes not at all. Sometimes it's life and death. Um, yeah, it depends on the situation. It depends on what's wrong with people. Um, that's what I say a lot. Uh, it it can make a difference of life and death. In one of the things that sometimes is said in relation to a heart attack is time is muscle, and there's a certain amount of care that the paramedics can give in the ambulance on the way there, but they can't do everything, and they can't give all of the care that a person needs to survive a heart attack. So, yeah.
I'm trying to think of any other questions I have for you. I think my last question is just on a for a personal level for you. You've been there 30 plus years. What did that feel like for you to learn that hospital that's been in that spot for I think a century? What was that feeling like?
Um, it's really sad. I had kind of expected that eventually it was going to go away, but I was hoping that that was before. I mean, after I retire. Um, Obviously not, because I'm not quite ready to retire yet. I'm close, but I'm not close enough. Um, so yeah, it's sad. I've spent a lot of my life there. I was 25 when I started working there, and yeah, I've raised kids working there. I have grandkids that were born there. Well, not at my hospital because we quit delivering babies there. But yeah, it's a piece of my life that's going away.